But you heard, yeah. What you heard, huh? What you heard, you can't hear a motherfucking thing.
Hey yo, what's up, people? It's your boy Tizzle from Probably Talk About Tizzle, and I'm here with the boy Nitty. How you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. Can't complain. Another day, another dollar.
Absolutely, man. First things first, I want to say, man, thanks for the hospitality, man. You know, y'all done fed a young brother. We got paintings everywhere, you feel me? I might go out here and find me a canvas to paint on.
There you go, man. Tap into your inner creativity.
So, speaking of creativity, where you get that from? Where you think you got that from? That side?
Well, actually, my mother, my mother was a really, really great artist, and I used to get, when I was like 9 years old, I used to get jealous. She'd be having all these amazing paintings around the house, and I had these little scrabble drawings, and I'd cry, run in my room, and I just got better. I've always been a competitive person, so, you know, even at a young age, so it just started the competitive nature, and it was like, I got to get as good as she is. Okay. And then I wanted to be better and better, and, you know.
And then you got to where you at.
Got to where you at, yeah.
Where you from? You got an accent to you.
I'm from New York.
What part?
The Bronx.
What?
University
The Bronx?
Ave, yeah, man.
Okay. How long you been out in Vegas?
Vegas, I've been doing Vegas, 2.5 years. Work brought me this way. I actually moved to Arizona first. Well, I moved to LA first and then to Arizona. And, yeah, job took me all over the place. So,
what the Bronx was like besides cold?
Well, so I'm a little older too. So the Bronx, when I grew up, like you said, outside of the cold, you know, you know, you had I grew up during the crack epidemic. So, you know, you had crack pipes and vials and baggies. Walking to school, you saw everything. So, you know, it was different. You know what I'm saying? But it strengthened you. You know what I mean? Like when I was growing up, like kids played outside. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Even though it was all that crack and shit and everything else that was going on, like it's still still was out there and still had fun and you know there was bullying.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
You know, people got bullied back in the day. You could say certain words. People wasn't the political police on you. So you know, you know. It was a good era. It was definitely a good era.
So you do videography, right?
Videography, photography. Yeah.
Okay. How did you get into that?
So I had a son, and when my son was born, I was running a trucking company at the time, and I had some expendable cash, so I bought me like this really cool camera. It was a T1. It's a Canon T1. It was a 10 megapixel camera.
That's tech talk.
Yeah. You know, So basically, it was your phones are now like 20 and 15 and 50 megapixels. So this camera was like for its time, it was a pretty dope camera. And I just started shooting him.
Okay.
I started shooting him and just wanted to get some cool memories. And then his mother, I started doing some work with her. Her friend saw it, and then when her friend saw it. And they was like, "We need to do something for me," and then it got big, and it just started blowing. This is in Atlanta, mind you, at the time. So Atlanta's like that, you know, that black mecca, and so everybody wanted pictures, and I was like, "Okay, I gotta monetize this some kind of way. How do I turn this into money? Because I'm not gonna keep sitting here and edit. I didn't know how to edit or do anything or how to shoot. I was just like, I had an eye though, you know. So I was just like, I was putting the frames together, and then you know, trying to figure out on YouTube as I went. I learned everything I know on YouTube, you know, as far as the production game.
How long you spent in Atlanta?
I was in Atlanta for 12 years. I was in Atlanta for a good little minute. Yeah.
Oh damn.
Yeah, I was in Atlanta. I went to college there. Got my degree out in Atlanta, and shout out to Morris Brown College.
Absolutely,
it's a great institution of learning. They back on the map.
Absolutely,
accreditation.
Man. Absolutely. Shout out to college. Period, man. A lot of people, man. It's like college is kind of underlooked now. You know what I mean? Back in the day when you was younger, whether you was going to college or not, your parents at least thought you was going to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They wanted you to.
Yeah, they wanted you to. Absolutely, man. So when did you decide that you wanted to be like, most people want to be in front of the camera. Mm-hmm. Like, what was it that changed that you like, I'm going to be in behind the scenes?
Well, if you know anything about anything, if you do any research or if you look up anything in 90% of industry, everything that's done behind the scenes is where all the real money is.
That's where the cash is, man.
You know, if you look at the music industry, the artists, you know, they're out here, they look good, everybody sees them. But the guy that signed the artist,
that's who got the bag.
That's the guy that really got the money. You know what I mean? So I always, you know, just having a love for art as a whole, saw, you know, an opportunity to be able to, you know, make content and create things that I saw that was appealing to my eye, and then said, well, look, everybody else needs it. Well, I'm gonna say this. I was in a room, and my room that I had at the time, I was about 14, 15 years old. In the room that I had paintings and posters all over the walls. Like every wall was covered with something. Had stars on the ceilings and the whole nine. My mother, she let me tap into my creative side. She even let me like draw on the walls.
Oh damn.
So I got to like do murals and paintings on my wall. Like, you know what I mean? She's like, I'll just paint it when we leave, baby. It's okay.
Straight up.
I'll take care of it, baby. Just go do you. Go paint. You know?
I never, see, you could tell your mom was in tune.
Yeah.
Because now that I think about it, like, that'd be the easiest thing for people to do. Like, man, you know, let your kids experiment on the walls. It ain't nothing to throw some white paint over that shit.
Oh, yeah. You know, so and now that you know you bring that up, it's like I see how a lot of parents treat their children, and like, you know, I've seen mothers in the stores, and they be like, "Sit your stupid ass down."
Tamed them. They
Like,
tame them.
whoa.
They don't let their imagination run. They tame them. They put them in a box. Yeah.
Don't look at that fucking candy. It's like, man, like how are we, like damn, like I'm a fucking kid. I want candy. What the fuck else am I supposed to do? That's all I can do is like look at candy and watch cartoons, you know. But you know, I think that a lot of times, like, you know, in households, they marginalize our children and make them not really tap into like whatever it is that they're gonna be. You know what I mean? And it kind of, you know, prohibits a lot of their growth. But yeah, she let me draw on the walls, and then because she let me draw on all of these walls and everything, what it let me to do is it let me tap into that creative side of everything that I was doing, and I just started kind of moving from there. You know, I just started you know, art, film, photography, music, and it's just anything artistic, anything that has to do with the arts, I'm for, you know.
So growing up, you had a pretty strong support system.
Yeah, well, my mom was my support system. You know, my aunt, I went to live with my aunt as well. So, you know, I had a lot of strong black women that were in my life, and I think that, you know, when strong black women really rear a child the right way, and they're supportive, and they're pushing you, and they're really looking out for your best interests, you know, emotionally, you know, financially, and the whole nine, I think you have a lot of room to grow and develop.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like, women, I don't know. I guess they're the creators of everything, man. Like, when you got a strong woman as far as your mom, your aunties, they already look at you like a king.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you become, like, as a black man, you become the man of the household pretty young if your father ain't around. Mm-hmm. It's like your mom relinquished that power to you real young. Like, hey, look, you got to be a king. You got to go do your thing. As far as you being from the East Coast, it's like y'all get taught y'all history young.
Hell yeah.
And that's one thing I always respected and loved about the East Coast and Midwest, man. Mm-hmm. I met a lot of cats, man. When I was incarcerated, that was from there, and they knew their history. They knew where they were from. They knew their ancestry, and they was always laced. You know what I mean? On the West Coast, it's not so much. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a lot of people who lost souls. They don't really know who they are. They don't know how great they are. They don't know if they're kings. Yeah. And they behave like it. Yeah. You know? And I actually met you on the set of you shooting a video. Right. You know what I mean? And I remember over and over, I kept telling you, like, hey, man, I respect your patience because we was dealing with kind of a intoxicated crowd, we'll say. You know what I mean? And we was doing the same roles over and over, but you kept your cool. You know what I mean? I was, like, letting you know that because as far as doing what I do, I see how important that is. You have to have, like, major patience. And now I know you fucking painting shit. I'm like, oh, this motherfucker is, like, zen. Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It's just it's like my release place. You know, I can get into the canvas and, you know, just you know, whatever you're going through, whatever you're feeling, even if you don't know how to paint, even if you're not, like, skilled. I know a lot of people, they be like, oh, how you, even if you're not skilled at it, it's like art is such a free and open and non-destructive place.
Yeah, it's not judging.
You can just get a canvas and some paint and just go at it, and whatever you come up with is what you come up with. You know what I mean? It's like you don't have to be, you know, skilled or trained. You know, it helps obviously. You know what I'm saying? But you know, if you just tap into it and just start doing stuff, you know, it definitely helps out your it's a form of meditation for me. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. As far as this right here, this painting, man, with the black woman or whatever, with the fro, what was your inspiration with that?
So to be honest, I was actually up one night and I had some folks over and we were gonna do this thing called a puff and paint.
Oh man, look, I did it, man.
We wanted to do the puff and paint, but we had the herb in the building and you know, some wines, some keeping it, you know, keeping the feng shui going. Yeah. And I just kind of like, and it was funny because I just drew it. I did this painting in like maybe 9-10 minutes.
Okay.
Like, it's just a solid black. It's just like a reverse negative or whatever, and I just did it quick. It wasn't like it wasn't really an inspiration per se. We were just up, and it was late, 3-4 in the morning, and we had a bunch of people over, and I was just like, some Angela Davis type, type vibe. You know what I mean? I know you're talking about like the culture in New York, and again, like I mentioned, Morris Brown. One of the first classes that we take is the history of Africa and the diaspora.
Dope.
It's a very, very important class that a lot of people don't get.
Okay.
So that class, it teaches you about who you are, and it teaches you a lot about, just, when you're growing up in the world, and if you, like you said, on West Coast, East Coast, down South, wherever you at, if you're not really picking up and getting some of these tools of how strong we are as a people, you don't know any better.
Facts, man.
You don't know any better. I know people right now that do music. I got a partner, and he's in another culture. Just put it that way.
Yeah. It'd be the blind leading the blind.
Yeah.
It'd be the blind leading the blind, man. Because like I always mention this to people. As being black, right? You could walk in a store. It could be a guy who never seen you in your life, never had a problem with, and they naturally mean mug you.
Yeah.
It's like we see each other and we see hatred, we see anger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people don't realize you don't have no hatred for them. You have hatred for yourself. You have no reason to have hatred for them. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the greatest things not the greatest, but that was like one of the most powerful things that other people instilled in us. I ain't gonna say, you know what I mean, but
I say this. I say on the East Coast, though, like when you was talking about that, like my uncle had this thing, like you could be anywhere because, like on the East Coast, like I'm not gonna say outnumbered, but the minority majority in the East Coast, like you've got pockets of communities, and all across the country where you've got concentrated, people of color, and like on the East Coast, you can go anywhere, no matter where you at, and you see somebody black, you're gonna be. Yeah,
at least
what's up? You know what I mean?
That's dope.
It's different. You know what I mean? It's like in different places that you go, you get different reactions. Like when I was in LA, and that same energy. You got guys and they're in their little suits and they're going through a little whatever they're doing, and they just got like a different wave. You know what I mean? So it's interesting because like I said, you definitely get love on the East Coast. You be a black man, you go out there, you gotta know nobody. You come on the block, and depending on what block you go to, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
But yeah, you're gonna get love.
So when you're shooting like say a rap video or something, or even R&B, what's the first thing you look for?
Well, first thing I do, what I do with my creative process is that I'll sit there and I'll put my headphones on and I'll listen to the track, right? And I'll just get a vibe for it, and then I'll get a vision in my head. I'll see a thing. I'll see somebody on the beach, or I'll see, whatever that song is. It'll relate something to me, or experience that I had, or a feeling that I felt. Yeah. Like you said, if it's an R&B track and it's a love track, and I've been in love, right? So I can pull from those experiences and be like, I can remember laying with this woman and feeling this type of a feeling and looking at her a certain way. I want to see that on film. So in this track, I'm gonna put that feeling together. If it's a hip hop track and somebody's, like I said, if it's a hip hop track, well, I'm gonna differentiate. If it's a rap track, because hip hop is different. I ain't gonna get into that. But if it's a rap track, you know what I'm saying, and you want to, you more so focus on the production, so you want to see certain things that visually catch your eye, because you got the 808 that's just popping, and then you want to kind of tap into that 808. Most rap tracks, they have like a really strong bass line, so you're tapping into that bass line, and every fourth you're putting a cut, every fourth, so that's my little process. Everybody goes at it differently, but it's been, works for me pretty good. So
okay. Like what you working on right now? What projects you working on? And like what's the goal? What's the main goal for you?
Primarily, so I own a solar company and an alarm company, so that's a huge source of my revenue. And the photography and the videography it's unfortunate because it's almost taking a backseat, and it's only 24 hours in a day, so trying to find time to be, I don't want to be a master of none. Yeah. I don't mind being a jack of all trades, but I don't want to be, because I want to master whatever it is that I'm putting my hands on. So, sometimes things fall by the wayside, but I'm opening up an office in January. So January 14th, we're going to be opening up the new office. It's, partner with a company, great benefits, You get hourly pay, you got 401k, you got it's just a bunch of stuff. So if anybody's looking for a job, tap in. But that's the main thing. And again, we've got a couple of shows that we're producing, and I'm gonna keep shooting. Keep shooting and putting photos out there. So.
Okay. Let everybody know how to reach you. Absolutely. Let them know, man.
Well, I have an Instagram and a website. So my website is 11 Media Corp, C-O-R-P. So 11 spelled out, Media Corp is my website. That's got pretty much everything photography related. And then there's 11 Solar Incorporated. So 11solarincorporated.com. So I have Instagram. I'm more a proponent on my own. I'm a big person that believes in ownership.
Yeah.
Right. So I have a presence on Instagram as well. So at 11 Media, 1111 Media, and Nitty versus Drew is my personal Instagram accounts. But with the ownership, it's like we spend so much time putting our content, our energy, our talents, our time into other folks.
Someone else's dream.
Other folks' dream. So every time you go out and you post a video on your Instagram, every time you go out and you upload a video to YouTube or whatever it is, the owners of that business are making money.
All for you.
And the folks that pay those bills are advertisers. So every other company spends money putting into these corporations. All you have to do is build yourself a presence. So we're filming some TV shows and filming a few other things, and I want to put my staple and create my own platform, and then I want to go to the advertiser and say, hey, look, tap in now. Give me the bag now, because later on I'm going to tax you. It's going to cost you a lot more money later on. So,
they say you either selling or you buying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You either buyer or the consumer. Mm-hmm. And that's on every level, you know what I mean? And I was watching how you had did the video, like, that we was at, and, I was there.
Yeah.
So it's crazy when you see it, because you be like, it wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody looked like they knew what the fuck they was doing, but we know when we was there, it'd be kind of chaotic. So when you go home from shooting a video, you have all this footage. What is your process? What is your process as far as making it line up and making it relatable?
So what I do the very first thing I do, because I've had issues in the past, when I was first starting off, where I'd sit on I'd have my card, my CF card or whatever card I was using to film, and I'd put it down and I'll get to it. I'll load it later. So the very first thing I do from any shoot is I upload and back up all my footage, because that's you can lose footage that way. And then once I have it on my computer, I drop it in the Final Cut, and then I just start sifting through the footage and seeing what's the best shots. Yeah. Right. What looks the best? What's the crispest shots? What's in focus? And then I take all of those shots and then I cut them up into little snippets. Yeah. And then I drag my song or whatever my audio is in, and I start aligning up what I want to see as a vision. How is this video going?
Yeah. Now, see, it's like a lot of artists, right? They're just artists, and they think they know what's best on camera. But you actually know. How do you differentiate, like, to tell them straight up, like, hey, look, man, that's not going to look right. Because, a lot of people just want to sit around with their homeboys, shake their hair, hold some Hennessy, and point guns at the camera. Right. So are you more of a, storyline? You like storylines more, or you like the wilding out type stuff?
I'd say storyline. I think it's a little bit of a mixture. I think you have to because our culture is so it's so off center. I'm always gonna do what I feel is gonna be best, but at that same token, one of my architecture professors, he gave us a lesson our very first week of class. Yeah. So he gives us an assignment. The assignment is to design a structure that's gonna like a shaded structure in a park structure, right? Yeah. And we spend a week, do the assignment. Everybody comes out with these amazing designs, amazing drawings. We come into class. He comes into the class. He has a red Sharpie. Yeah. And he's walking up and down the aisles, and oh, this is beautiful. I love how you did this. Oh, this is amazing. This is really good. And he's marking up our drawings. Now, mind you, we're doing line weights. We're trying to make this look really, really, good, because this is our first architectural assignment ever. Never have done this before, right? And he's just marking all our work up. And then he goes to the front of the class and he sits up there and he's like, this is the first lesson of design and architecture I'm going to give you, and probably the most important. And he says, you know, when you're designing something for someone else or filming something for someone else, this is not your work, right? This is not yours. It belongs to whoever you're creating it for. So if you're designing a building and they say, I don't like these doors, you can't be like, what do you mean those are great doors? I designed this. This is an amazing design. What do you mean you don't like this door?
Yeah.
You know, so you have to be able to bend when it comes to that stuff and be able to tell your client and say, hey, look, I don't agree. Right. I don't agree with your decision. I'm letting you know I don't agree with your decision. I think it should be this way, but this is your design. I'll do it.
Yeah.
So that I think that's the way that you handle those situations. You know, you figure out what the artist or the client wants, and you say, hey, listen, I'll do it the way you want it to be done, but hey, that's on you.
So yeah, communication is key. Communication is definitely key, man. So as far as like, have you ever thought about filming like a short movie? Have you ever did anything like that?
I have like 10 scripts that I have that I think, obviously I think they're amazing. I think everything I do is amazing. Now, I think these movies are really good, and right now, with the businesses that I'm running, I'm trying to shum up enough money. Movies cost a lot of money. Budgets are off of the chain. But I have one film that I want to do. It's in the vein of a Friday. It's not the same movie at all, but just the way that it was shot and the way that it was produced and the amount of money they spent. I think they spent like $1.2 million was the budget for Friday.
Oh, that ain't bad.
On the very first one, right? And they made, you know, $100 million, $200 million worldwide or whatever. So Ice Cube knew what he was doing. But so yeah, I have a bunch of movies that I want to do. Some are a little bit more ambitious, and I don't have a budget to pull off like, you know, a $30-40 million budget on some of these things, and that's how I think the justice that it needs, it would need that kind of a budget for some of them. But the very first one that I want to do is a really good story, and I'll give you a premise of it without giving it away. It's just about 4 guys, and these 4 guys are friends, and they go and they find a way to come up with the answer to an important question that we have in life. That's without me giving away the tagline and so forth. But it's a good movie. I think people will enjoy it. So.
Who your favorite like directors? Who work that you see? And another question, it's gonna be 2. Who's your favorite director, right? And like some of them, once you see their work, do you know that's their work? You know what I mean? Like I got into a little later, like Jerry, what's his name? Jerry Bruckheimer.
Bruckheimer, yeah.
Like he sick with it, man.
Sick, yeah.
As far as TV shows and movies and stuff.
Well, I feel like, my favorite, so to answer the question, my favorite director is gotta be Spike Lee. He's one of my favorite directors. He's just made very impactful movies, and he did it his way.
She Gotta Have It All. I just started watching that on Netflix.
So I think he just did it. The reason why I respect Spike's hustle is because I think that he did it his way. He and it was cool, like he took all of his credit cards. He took every asset that he had. He believed in his abilities and his passion so much that he took everything that he owned, all his money, and he invested it into his production company and filmed his first movie, right?
Damn.
And then that movie went on and made some money. And then you got to do the right thing, and it made money. And then he just kept moving, you know, in his career. So I feel like Spike was very influential in my decision making on how I wanted to produce and direct film, because, you know, I feel like if he, you know, attacked this, and this is then.
Yeah, it's a different time, man.
Different times, right?
Different time.
So with him taking and saying, this is what I'm putting this out,
and I'm good enough,
to do it, and him not backing down, I think that was, you know, courageous and very, you know, brave of Spike to, you know, and to go out and do so.
He never sold out. He stuck to what he believed.
He never sold out. He's always been Spike. He still do, yeah. In the Madison Square Garden joint, he got pissed. He's like, I won't come here no more.
I ain't coming there yet.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Spike, he don't play. So again, another New Yorker. You know what I mean? So you know, he's definitely inspiration for me. And then like you said, his shots. You know, everyone knows when you see that shot with the camera and it's zoomed in and it's like just zooming into the subject. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Any movie you see, you know that shot. You know, Spike Lee must have. It was a movie. I can't even think of the name of the movie he did, but it was one of these movies that he did. It was like this off movie, and like I was like, oh, Spike did this too. I was like, what the hell? I knew based on the shot though.
Oh, you already knew it.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then even earlier, like you know, we fairly new to a lot of things, but you already knew cameras. You be knowing memory cards and all that. You know what I mean? But that just comes from time and experience.
Yeah, that's all that is. It's just time. They say, what is it, 10,000 hours?
Yeah.
You gotta spend 10,000 hours at whatever it is that you want to do to become a professional at it.
God, okay. That's
So
deep.
I don't know if that breaks down into days or years, but
10,000
do the math. 10,000 hours, see how many days or weeks or days that takes. But that's what they say to become a professional at a certain thing.
Okay.
So
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. So what's your favorite thing to film?
to film, like when I was in Atlanta, I did I did some music. I did a lot of music videos in Atlanta. I worked with a lot of artists. They're older artists now, but back in the day they were all popping and in the music industry. So I don't know if I have a favorite thing to film per se. I would say, because I haven't done a full feature yet, right?
Yeah.
So that's my next goal, is to do a full feature, and then once I do a full feature, then I'll be able to sit back and look at everything, look at the landscape, and say, okay, I've done this, I've done this, I've done that. Okay, I like this the best. Music videos are generally, like you saw, they're usually a clusterfuck, and you got to go through a lot. You got talent late, this happened, everything. It's always, we just filmed the show, so the show was pretty intense. Like a talk show, so it's different. So music video, talk show.
Yeah,
now the film comes. Did some documentary type work as well. I think out of all of it, if I had to take those, I think documentary work was pretty cool.
Okay.
Like documentaries and like just because there's no lines.
Yeah.
If you do a documentary, like if I take a camera and go to Louisiana, and just film, whatever's going on in the community, you know what I mean? Like there's no lines that say, oh, it has to be. It's just go film, take the footage, cut it up, put it out there, and people watch it. So I think documentaries are probably like the easiest thing to do, perhaps.
How did you feel as far as the culture shock coming from the East Coast coming to the West Coast? What was the first thing that you noticed was like really different? Like, damn, I'm not
feeling it. Yeah, so what I did was, I had this really, really amazing studio in it was actually in New Jersey, and this studio I was paying $1,000 a month for the studio space. It was 5,000 square feet.
Yeah.
I got amazing space, got it at Steel, and the owner ended up selling a building.
Oh.
So I was sitting there and I'm like, all right, I don't have this cool space anymore. I'm not gonna find anything even remotely close to the space. I'm not gonna find it at that price, right? And I'm like, well, am I gonna get a regular apartment and just, because it was a live workspace, so we had like rooms in there. So I'm like, I'm not gonna find anything like this, anywhere. So let me figure something else out, And I was on the phone with my mother. She was out in LA. She's been working in Hollywood. She's done all these major productions for like just How to Get Away with Murder, like just tons.
Oh damn, that's my show.
Yeah, she's like, my mother casted that show. Like anyway.
That's
so
dope.
so I was sitting there and I was like, all right, do I go? Do I stay? What do I do? So I decided to make the jump. I get to LA. I took a U-Haul. I'm not gonna tell nobody to do this. But if you need to move, I'm gonna give you some hood nigga shit, okay? This is some hood nigga 101, real quick. If you need to move across country and you don't have the bread or the money to do it, get you a U-Haul. Get you an in-town move. It costs you $19.99. You see it all over the fucking trucks. I took that U-Haul. I drove that shit across the country.
Damn.
With an in-town move. And I'm not gonna say what happened in between because I'm not gonna incriminate myself. But just take the U-Haul and you'll figure the rest of the shit out. Just read between the lines. But anyway, so I got the U-Haul, got across country. I was in LA. I had like $2-3 grand in my pocket. I'm like, all right, I'm in LA now. This is the big city. I'm about to go make my dreams pop off. And the biggest thing that I noticed is that like people, and I lived in Hollywood, mind you.
Yeah.
So that was the major thing. I wasn't in, like, out in Crenshaw, like I was in fucking Hollywood. So, it was just super fake, super superficial, super like, I was like, and the part that made me really like reflect on life a lot was this shit, bro. I was going to like these parties in the hills, partying with like fucking certain celebrities and shit. There was having these big ass mansion parties and fucking amazing parties and shit. Females walking around half-assed naked. It's coke
gotta love that.
Coke all over the table, and it's just crazy, right? And then I would go home to my little fucking $900, $1,100 space that I had that was fucking this small, and I was like, damn, man. Like, I'm over here partying with these people, but I'm not experiencing. My experience is not the same as them. So
Facts.
I just started seeing like so if you trying to live a life, you know what I'm saying, get the money, man.
Get the money, man.
Don't get the
Absolutely.
money, man. Stop trying to live these lives that's not you. Don't try to be that. You know what I'm saying? Because like you can't afford a rich man can play broke forever.
Facts.
A broke man cannot play rich but for a very short time.
Game. That's some game for
You
sure,
feel me?
man.
So, you know, I that's just what I say. I just seen how superficial the city was. You know what I mean? So that was my big takeaway.
Yeah, I think like as far as with this podcast, it's dope to have you on here because like right now, probably like I'm not that good with the numbers, but probably like 80% of young black men either want to rap or play sports.
Mm-hmm.
They never think about the other side of life. They never think about their education. You speaking on college, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They never think about being on the other side of the camera. And like you said, like that's where the real money at. Like you do a big movie, you can walk in the mall and don't gotta worry about getting robbed or killed.
Right.
You feel me? This rapper probably got $20,000 acting like he rich,
Yeah.
but he gotta have the security. He's spending so much of his money on unnecessary things to protect himself. You know what I mean? Moving a certain way, like that he know he can't afford, just because he has to protect himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When the producers walk inside the mall, can buy the fucking mall,
And
don't nobody know him. So that privacy and that pieces has to be an amazing feeling.
Hell yeah, I could. Yeah.
And I always thought about that. I think my bro Skinny, man, he always wanted to be behind the camera, you know. Even though he has like talent to be in front of it, he always wanted to be behind the camera. And I always thought that was the reason why. I ain't never spoke to him about it before. And you know what I mean? I think it's probably his bloodline to just be low key about some things.
Yeah,
you know
man.
what I mean?
Like nobody like fame is. See, people chase fame. They want to be seen. They want to be known. I be grinding to get the fuck away from people.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
I be feeling like if I grind hard enough, I'll make enough money to where I can isolate myself and only have the people around me that I need. You know what I'm saying? The people that have the same like interests, same mindset. You know what I'm saying? They trying to do something with their lives, and you know, it's if you're out here and you're trying to go out here just to be on social media just to show that you got some money, then you already moving backwards.
Facts.
You know?
Because you don't have nobody to prove nothing to but yourself and your kids. You know what I mean? How much of an influence is your family, your kids? You know what I mean? How much of influence is that on what you do?
So like I said, I have a son, and my biggest influence. Well, I'm not gonna say influence, but my engine, right? The thing that drives me on a consistent basis is, and you hear about it a lot now, right? People are becoming more aware in America, like, you know, at least, you know, minorities are becoming more aware of like the generational wealth and like to take money and to put money back in rotation, even if we're not here. Because, you know, if I grind super, super hard for, you know, my entire life and I make $100,000, right? Can I leave that to myself? He'll burn through that. He gonna buy a car. He gonna put a payment on the house. Boom, he done. That's it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So my biggest goal, my biggest, you know, takeaway from life, you know, is to put money away so that way when I'm not here, my family's family can eat. You know what I mean? So and people are getting that. People are starting to understand that concept more so now. I mean, before everybody was lost. You know what I mean? You know, so you know, based on some of the rhetoric that the people were talking about, they just, you know, it's just America be wanting, you know, like they say this change because that's what they ran on, change, right?
That was his
and America say that they want this change, but you know, when you really dig deep into it, you look at Martin Luther King and you look at Malcolm X and you look at, you know, the all of these scenarios even prior to that, it's the same conversation.
Absolutely.
In 40, 50 years, this conversation hasn't changed.
Nah, man.
Men, you know, people are still talking about like, oh, we need, you know, equal rights, it's the same. Black men, you know, or minorities or people of color have been getting murdered since here we go.
By cops, all kind of shit.
Yeah, but before it was the cops, before that was the KKK, before that it was just the indoctrination into slavery. So like this is, see, and I don't want to get political, but I feel like this is not America. Is not your country.
No,
right?
it's not.
And see what happened is that now that minorities have invested so much sweat into the country, they're like, well, I'm not just about to pick up and leave.
Yeah, fuck that.
Like we know how much sweat and blood we got like in this flight. Like we can't just. They be like, well, just leave now. Oh, so just build up all your shit and just leave.
For real,
oh, I get it. Oh, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Your shit looking all nice.
Right, Anthony, you got all these skyscrapers and shit running around, so you want me to just pack up and leave? Okay, yeah. No, like, that shit I built, but I don't get no money off of it, right? I don't get the profit off of, 'cause I know I was just watching this documentary of this, and it was talking about, like, the great land rush.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with the land rush, but what they did was the federal government said, take the stick, put it in the ground, and that's your shit.
That's your land, yeah.
Right? And everybody got to get all of this free land that was super cheap.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning. Then after that happened, the federal government got involved and they put out these bank loans. The bank loans for like 10 bands. So you can get a house for like 10 bands.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, certain people were getting approved for it, other people couldn't. So people of color couldn't get these houses.
Yeah.
So now you've got you own all of the land. Right?
Yeah.
And because you own all of the land, there's nowhere to move and grow, and like everything is bought up, right? So, and then if you did try to get it, I'm gonna tax you. Yeah, so I'm gonna tax him 2%. I'm gonna tax him 50% or whatever the numbers were, right? Yeah. So, like I said, these conversations, and everybody knows this. This is not like this is public information at this point. You know, if you have an ear to hear and you're really listening to you know what's been going on in the world, like this is nothing new.
Yeah, for sure.
So the answer is like, okay, so what happens next?
For real. Nothing
Right?
Nothing ever happened. Like
What happens next?
And we all know, man, presidents really don't hold that much power. Don't really hold no power.
No, we all don't know that though.
Oh well, yeah. Well,
See, some people know that, but everybody thinks Barack should have did everything. He should have emancipated black people and gave them money or so. I don't know what people think, right? And they be like, he didn't do enough for black people. Okay, well, what did you expect him to do? Yeah. What propose like? And see, this is the thing. Like people talk like, oh, he didn't do this, he didn't do that, and I'm like, okay, well, what would you have had him do?
Yeah, for real.
Right? Now, and considering that Congress blocked 90% of everything, or you know, a good percentage of stuff that they try to push through anyway, right? Now, if you put some real legislation like, well, listen, we're gonna give, what is it called? Oh my God, not emancipation, the money, reparations, right? We're gonna give reparations, right? So Barack had came and said, we're gonna give reparations to all colored folks, right?
That would have been the funniest thing they ever heard. They'd still be laughing about it.
They still be laughing about it, right? Because it would have got struck down in the Senate so fast, like, so it's like, come on, man. Like, I mean, and then they're like, you know, well, Trump did so great, and that's what the big thing that, you know, during this last presidential, Trump did so much for black. I'm like, really? I'd be listening to it, I'd be like, really? I'm like, seriously, I really, like, perpetuate, like, you really saying this right now?
Yeah, people crazy. And we all know, man, like, when it comes to politics, people tell you what they want you to hear. That shit just like a popularity test, man. Yeah. The fact that Donald Trump was a president and he didn't have no political background, he just woke up one day and was like, hey, yo, it's showtime. These niggas dumb.
I got some money.
But
But you know what the funniest part about Donald Trump's presidency to me? The funniest part is all things you said were true, but the funniest thing he said, I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue right now and they wouldn't do shit about it.
Fact.
That was the fun. And he, as a presidential candidate, he said this to people. And they was just like, oh yeah, he's just humorous.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy. I'm like, wow.
He was saying some crazy
shit. He was saying some of the most crazy shit I had ever heard out of, like, cause like politics is supposed to be this, I'm gonna be cool, I'm gonna say the political thing, right? And I think that's why people like him, because he didn't say the political thing, like, well, we don't know about abortion, we're gonna figure it out, and then once we look at the women, he didn't say that. He was like, well, if you have to kill some babies, you gotta kill some babies. Shit. Like, he was just like, fuck it. Like, you know.
Wow.
He was wild.
Honestly,
with it.
That's the thing that I liked it about him, because I feel like a lot of people lied to us. I think that he didn't give a fuck enough to lie. I think that he felt like, hey, yo, this is what it is. Y'all been doing this for years. I shouldn't have to baby y'all through this.
Yeah.
Like, this is what's going on. And I would rather my enemy show me he's my enemy. Ain't nothing worse than a friend who's really
in front of me.
Yeah, that's the worst shit ever, man.
Mm-hmm.
But
because they got all the insight.
Absolutely.
So they're sitting right next to you. They know your moves, your left, your right. They know everything that you're doing. And when they cross you, you don't see it coming like ever. Like you just be like, what the be blindsided. You know
everything, man. And as far as this shit, I got this shit I call some Game for Lames, right? By Tizzle. Give me some game that you've received or you've gotten over your life that you feel helped you hit the next level in your life, or it helped you get to where you at right now, maturely.
Well, I definitely. I mean, I could hit that shit dead on center, man. My aunt, super strong woman. She just passed away recently, and
Rest in peace, man.
absolutely. And the most important thing she ever told me is that you gotta have a job and a hustle,
100.
right? And she said your job provides the money to support your hustle until your hustle can outlast your job. And that's how I've always moved. So I've always done, like, I'll go get me a 9-to-5 real quick, make some bread, and I always had something on the side, that I was making money at. Like I said, photography. Yeah. I'd make a couple dollars here doing shoots and stuff, and that gave me some money to do some more stuff. And then so, to me, I think that's, when people go out and they're like, and I've always worked, 1, 2, I've had multiple sources of income, no matter what I was doing, and I think that's always kept me above water.
Absolutely, man.
You know what I mean?
I always tell people that, man, your job is supposed to get you ready for your career or your, your future.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because ain't no way, I feel like no one should want to work for someone else their whole life. Because if you working at Taco Bell, man, somebody is rich off of that. You know what I mean? And eventually, like, if you sick, you could be sick too many days. They gonna let your ass go. If you don't have your own income coming in, you basically living check to check. I don't care how much money you make an hour. You know what I mean? You're living check to check because they can take that shit from you. You know what I mean? And I just be wanting to tell people that all the time. Like, if you put your mind to it, it's something for everybody. Yeah. You don't have to step on the next person's toes. Like, right now, most black people want, like we said, want to rap and play basketball sports and shit. Like, bruh, like, we ain't gonna have no doctors. You know what I mean? No firefighters, nothing. No police. Motherfuckers just want to play basketball and rap. You know what I mean? Most of them can probably barely read, but they want to do these things. They don't realize, like, people like Kendrick, people like Big Sean, these guys are really geniuses. And most artists excelled in school. They don't realize that. Yeah. Like, even if they didn't finish school, Pop, believe me, these motherfuckers is smart. Yeah. They not just motherfuckers waking up one day like, I got some rhymes. No. Motherfuckers was exceptional.
2 Chainz.
2 Chainz, they gifted, man,
Super smart.
Yeah. T.I., you see motherfuckers, they be sharp.
They be, but see, you notice the difference though, right?
They dumb at music there.
But look, that's the funniest part about it is that all of these rappers we talked about, right, that we just named, all of these rappers, they make the music, right, and then they make the money, and then they progress on to the next thing because they have a business acumen and a mindset to say, okay, this is if I have to keep tap dancing and running around the country and doing shows, I'm either gonna burn myself out. I'm gonna have to take so much drugs to keep myself up to keep up with this lifestyle, and then eventually I'm gonna burn myself out and either destroy myself or run out of money.
Absolutely.
And the smart ones, they diversify and they move on to the next thing, and this is not like, oh, this is all I'm gonna do. So
absolutely, man. Life, I think as you get older, you see things like that because we're always taught growing up, go get a job. You know what I mean? As soon as you get out of high school, you either go to college or get a job. You know what I mean?
Military, right?
Or the fucking military. You know what I mean? Go fight for some motherfuckers who don't care about you. That's how it is put to us. You don't really hear parents telling us like, hey, yo, man, go chase your dreams for real. Yeah. And if they do say it, they don't mean it, man. You know what I mean? Because most artists, me and bro talk about it all the time, most artists literally starved and went homeless for their dreams. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to Taco Bell. Right. I'm going to live in the back of this Buick for a little bit, yeah. Tyler Perry type shit, you know what I mean? And if you, like you said, you put enough hours and effort into anything, and that shit is going to come true, man. I really believe that. You got to really want it, man. But, shit, man, it was nice chopping it up with you, Nitty, man. It's a pleasure. And we're going to definitely link up again. You know, we're going to swap information, and we're going to keep in touch, man. And we're going to get up out of here, man. It's Pie Talk by Tizzle. Y'all have a blessed night.
Yes, sir.
I go hard for this. How the fuck you winning if you lost to this? Niggas think they own, so they get off in this. It's easy to get crossed in this. On TOP, we gon' get far from this. Step up in they town and burn it down like I'm a horse.